Brothers and sisters, children of Africa, distinguished guests, and to all those watching across the world, I come before you today not merely as the president of Burkina Faso, not simply as a soldier who has dedicated his life to the liberation of our continent, but as a humble servant carrying a message that transcends politics, transcends borders, and speaks to the very destiny of nations. What I am about to share with you comes from a place of profound spiritual significance. In the quiet hours before dawn, in those sacred moments when the veil between this world and the divine grows thin, I was granted a revelation. I do not speak of this lightly. I am a man of action, a man of the earth, a soldier who believes in the power of human determination and the strength of united peoples. Yet I cannot deny what was shown to me, what was spoken into my spirit with a clarity that shook my very foundation. This message, this warning, is directed toward President Donald Trump of the United States of America, and by extension, to the American people and to all who align themselves with the path that America currently walks. I understand the gravity of what I say. I understand that many will dismiss these words as the ramblings of a young African leader, that some will call me presumptuous, that others will question my right to speak on such matters. But I speak because I must. I speak because silence in the face of divine warning would be the greatest betrayal of my faith and my responsibility to humanity. Let me be clear from the outset, this is not about politics. This is not about East versus West, Africa versus America, or any earthly division that we humans create to separate ourselves from one another. This is about the eternal truth that governs all existence, the divine justice that does not bend to wealth, power, or military might. This is about accountability before the Creator and the consequences that befall nations who forget that all power ultimately belongs to Allah, to God, to the divine force that created all things. In my revelation, I saw America as a great tree, its roots deep and its branches stretching across the entire world. This tree had grown mighty through centuries of expansion, its shade covering many lands, its fruits consumed by millions. But as I watched, I saw that the roots had begun to rot from within. Not from external enemies, not from foreign attacks, but from internal decay, from the poison of arrogance, from the corruption of believing that might makes right, that power absolves responsibility, that the strong need not answer for their treatment of the weak. And in this vision, a voice spoke to me, a voice that resonated with the power of thunder and the gentleness of rainfall on parched earth. The voice said, "Ibrahim, son of Africa, child of the oppressed, I have chosen you to carry my warning to the one who sits in the seat of earthly power in America. Tell Donald Trump, tell him that I, Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, the Lord of all worlds, have seen the pride that swells in his heart. Tell him that I have numbered the tears of every Palestinian child, recorded every drop of blood spilled in Yemen, witnessed every act of injustice committed in the name of American interests. Tell him that the time of reckoning approaches, and no nation, no matter how powerful, stands above my judgment." Brothers and sisters, I trembled at these words. Who am I to deliver such a message to the most powerful man in the world? I am the son of a modest family, a soldier from a small African nation that many in the West cannot find on a map. Yet the message was insistent, pressing upon my heart like a weight that would not lift until I agreed to speak. The revelation continued, and I was shown scenes of tremendous suffering. I saw the faces of mothers in Gaza, holding the broken bodies of their children, crying out to heaven as bombs rained down upon them with weapons supplied by American hands. I saw the elderly in Iraq, still searching through the rubble of their destroyed lives, 2 decades after an invasion that was built on lies. I saw the farmers of Africa, their lands stolen by multinational corporations, protected by American economic policies, their children dying of starvation while their crops are exported to feed others. I saw the indigenous peoples of Latin America, their forests burning, their leaders assassinated, their resources plundered, all while American corporations profit and American politicians look away. And the voice spoke again. These are my children too. The Palestinian is my child. The Yemeni is my child. The Iraqi is my child. The African is my child. When you harm them, when you support their oppression, when you provide the tools of their destruction, do you think I do not see? Do you think your power protects you from my sight? Do you think your wealth can purchase immunity from divine justice? President Trump, I address you now directly, though I know you may never hear these words, though your advisors may shield you from this message, though you may dismiss it as the words of an insignificant African leader, but I am bound by what I have been shown to speak this truth to you. Allah has seen your actions. He has seen how you have torn up agreements meant to bring peace. He has seen how you have emboldened the oppressors and abandoned the oppressed. He has seen how you have weaponized sanctions that starve innocent people. He has seen how you have recognized illegal occupations and blessed the dispossession of indigenous peoples from their lands. The warning is this: America stands at a crossroads, and the path you are leading your nation down leads to destruction. Not the destruction that comes from foreign armies or nuclear weapons, but the destruction that comes from divine withdrawal, from the removal of blessing, from the collapse that befalls all empires who believe they can rule without accountability to the higher laws that govern existence. In my vision, I was shown 3 signs that would manifest if this warning goes unheeded. The first sign is division from within. I saw America tearing itself apart, not from external enemies, but from internal strife, from the poisonous fruit of inequality, racism, and injustice that has been planted in American soil since the nation's founding. I saw communities turning against each other. I saw trust eroding. I saw the very fabric of society unraveling as people lost faith in their institutions and in each other. This division, I was told, is the natural consequence of a nation that has sown division across the world. You cannot export chaos and expect to have peace at home. You cannot destabilize other nations and expect your own stability to remain secure. The second sign is economic collapse. I saw the dollar, that symbol of American power that has been used as a weapon to subjugate nations, losing its value and its dominance. I saw the American economy, built on the exploitation of other nations' resources and labor, crumbling as the world turns away from American financial hegemony. I saw people who had lived in comfort suddenly facing poverty, not understanding how their prosperity was always built on the suffering of others, not comprehending that divine justice demands balance, that wealth extracted through oppression cannot be sustained forever. This collapse, I was told, would be the correction of cosmic scales, the rebalancing of accounts that have been unjustly skewed for too long. The third sign is natural disaster. I saw floods that would not recede, fires that would not be quenched, storms that would devastate with unprecedented fury, and droughts that would turn fertile lands into dust. These are not merely the consequences of climate change, though humanity's abuse of creation plays its role. These are the earth itself, responding to the cry of the oppressed, the very elements refusing to sustain a civilization built on violence and exploitation. The earth, I was told, is a living witness to human action, and it will not indefinitely support those who spread corruption upon it. But here is what gives me hope, what makes me willing to stand before you and risk ridicule to deliver this message. The warning also came with a pathway to redemption. Allah, in His infinite mercy, does not warn without offering a chance for correction. The revelation showed me that if America, if President Trump, if the American people change their course, if they genuinely seek justice rather than domination, if they use their power to uplift rather than oppress, if they acknowledge the humanity of all people and not just their own citizens, then these calamities can be averted. President Trump, you have the power to change course. You have the ability to be remembered as the leader who chose justice over expediency, who valued human life over corporate profit, who recognized that true security comes not from military might, but from being a nation that others respect and trust, rather than fear and resent. You could use America's vast resources to heal rather than harm, to build rather than destroy, to unite rather than divide. The path of redemption requires several concrete actions, which were made clear to me in this revelation. First, America must end its unconditional support for oppression anywhere in the world. This means stopping the flow of weapons to regimes that use them against civilian populations. This means ending the sanctions that amount to collective punishment of innocent people. This means actually standing for the human rights that America claims to champion, not just when it is politically convenient, but especially when it is difficult and costly. Second, America must make genuine restitution for past wrongs. The wealth of America was built on the backs of enslaved Africans, on stolen indigenous lands, on exploited workers across the global south. You cannot simply acknowledge these historical injustices and then do nothing about them. Divine justice requires making amends, requires returning what was taken, requires elevating those who were pushed down. This is not about guilt or shame. It is about balance and fairness, and recognizing that current inequalities have historical roots that must be addressed. Third, America must transform from an empire to a partner. The age of one nation dominating all others is over, whether American leaders accept this reality or not. The world is multipolar, and trying to maintain unipolar dominance will only bring suffering to everyone, including Americans themselves. True leadership in the modern world means collaboration, means respecting the sovereignty of other nations, means accepting that different peoples have the right to choose their own paths without interference or punishment from Washington. Fourth, America must heal itself before presuming to lead others. How can a nation racked by racism, inequality, police brutality, mass incarceration, and social fragmentation claim to be a beacon for the world? The work of justice must begin at home, with addressing the systemic injustices within American society, with truly living up to the ideals of equality and freedom that America professes, but has never fully realized. I know these words will be controversial. I know that many Americans will reject this message, will see it as an attack on their nation, will dismiss it as anti-American sentiment from a hostile foreign leader. But I assure you, this is not hatred speaking, this is concern. This is the voice of someone who has seen what happens when nations believe they are above accountability, when power becomes detached from morality, when might is confused with right. I have studied history deeply. I have seen the fate of every empire that came before America. The Babylonians, the Persians, the Romans, the Ottomans, the British, all believed their power was eternal. All believed they had a divine right to dominate others. All dismissed warnings of their decline. And all, without exception, fell. Not because of external enemies primarily, but because of internal corruption. Because they violated the fundamental laws of justice that govern human societies. Because they forgot that all worldly power is temporary and that the only lasting power is that which aligns with divine truth. America does not have to follow this path to destruction. The choice remains open, but time is running short. The signs I was shown are already beginning to manifest. We see the division tearing at American society. We see the economic indicators showing strain beneath the surface. We see the increasing frequency and severity of natural disasters. These are not coincidences. They are warnings, gentle at first, but growing more intense, calling humanity back to the path of justice. To the American people, I say this: you are not your government's policies. You are individuals with conscience, with hearts, with the capacity for empathy and justice. Many of you have opposed your government's actions, have marched for peace, have stood with the oppressed. Continue this work. Amplify your voices. Demand that your leaders change course. Your destiny is tied to the destiny of all humanity, and what happens to America affects all of us. You have been blessed with tremendous resources, talent, and opportunity. Imagine what America could accomplish if these blessings were used for genuine good rather than for domination. Imagine an America that leads through moral example rather than military force. Imagine an America that invests in solving global poverty, climate change, and disease with the same intensity it currently invests in maintaining military bases around the world. This is the America that could truly be great, that could earn genuine respect rather than compelled obedience. To President Trump specifically, I make this personal appeal. You are a father and a grandfather. When you look at your children and grandchildren, you must want a good future for them. The path you are currently on will not lead to that good future. It will lead to a world of increased chaos, violence, and suffering that will eventually reach American shores, no matter how many walls you build or how many weapons you deploy. But if you change course, if you choose justice and peace, you could be part of creating a world where all children, not just American children, can grow up in safety and dignity. I understand the pressures you face, the powerful interests that profit from war and exploitation, the political calculations that seem to require appearing strong through aggression. But there is a strength far greater than military might, the strength of moral courage, the strength to admit when policies are wrong, the strength to change course despite criticism. This is the strength that is remembered and honored by history. This is the strength that earns divine approval. In closing, let me return to where I began. I am a humble servant, a soldier of Africa, speaking words that were given to me in Revelation. I do not claim to be a prophet. I do not claim any special spiritual status. I am simply a messenger, passing along a warning that I was entrusted to deliver. What you do with this message is between you and your Creator. But know this: whether you believe in Allah, God, the universe, or simply in the moral laws that govern human civilization, the truth remains the same. Justice is not optional. Accountability is not negotiable. No nation, no matter how powerful, stands outside the judgment of history and the divine. America can choose to be part of building a more just world, or it can continue on its current path and face the consequences that have befallen every empire before it. The choice is yours, President Trump. The choice is yours, America. But choose quickly, for the window of opportunity will not remain open forever. The signs are already appearing. The warning has been delivered. What comes next depends on the decisions made in this crucial moment. May Allah guide all of us toward justice, toward peace, toward recognition of our common humanity. May we have the wisdom to hear warnings before they become calamities. May we have the